What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And today on The Great Debaters, going to an underground gym, getting into a little diamond shell. Alright, everybody, so please, we're back here on The Great Debaters. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. As y'all know, it's free. That enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews and great debaters, cover stories, all the different things we do on Unique Access as soon as possible, as many times as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. Now today on The Great Debaters, Amir and I are going to be talking about our top 3 picks on Diamond Shell's one and only album, The Great Imperial Diamond Shell. Now Amir, this came out in 1991. It's, in my opinion, a very underlooked album that I love. So, for you, Amir, what were your first thoughts when you heard of Diamond Shell, getting used to Diamond Shell, heard this album? What was going on?
So, what was going on was actually Soren and I were, recording a Great Debaters episode one day, and then he had asked me, he's always looking at what I got in the collection, trying to see where I can improve and see, what recommendations he can give me. So he saw that I didn't have this album, and he asked if I'd heard of it, and I was like, I actually have not heard of it. And then I just went ahead and I found it at Amoeba, probably a couple weeks or a month or something like that. And it was pretty soon thereafter. Then I was listening to it, I was like, this is actually a pretty good album. And, so it was pretty quick. That was like a year and a half, 2 years ago, because Amoeba was open at that time, and it was before COVID. So anyways, popped in, I liked it, and then here we are today. So that's going to lead me to my first pick, and that would be Giggles. This song is actually really funny. It reminds me of kind of just a whole song where they're just dissing, kind of like a Yamama song in a sense, except this time Diamond Shell, he goes on a blind date, and he is basically he called the girl Giggles because she made him laugh over the phone. And then when he meets her in person, it's a whole other story because he is petrified of her. And it's interesting, too, because I feel like back in those days of the early 90s and 80s and 70s, etc., I feel like maybe blind dates were a little more common. Nowadays, when you talk about a blind date, it's really like you can just go on their Instagram or their Facebook and you at least see a photo or something. Whether you get catfished, that's something else. But at least you can kind of see. Here, in his case, he's going over the voice and all that. So when he finally meets her, at where he meets her, not only is she ugly, but she brings an ugly friend. And just the whole verses from there are just hilarious. Like, he is really making you laugh in the song. He makes up excuses to leave. Then she says, okay, give me a call. And Diamond Shell goes home and he rips the phone off the wall. He's like, hell no. He's basically making it impossible for her to contact him. He says when she looks at the mirror like breaks or screams or whatever, like it jumps, like the reflection is scared of her, whatever he says. It's just like hilarious. Her weight can only be measured on a Richter scale. Just like all the things he says on the song are pretty hilarious and very insulting, but also who gives a crap? He just wasn't feeling the blind date, and he never talked to Giggles again. So with that being said, I thought that was like a hysterical song and clever. And Diamond Shell, although he is dissing the heck out of her, he's not, calling her a bitch or saying ho or anything like that. It's just all just like more clever dissing and very impactful nonetheless. So that's my track 1.
Yeah, Giggles is very, very humorous. It's not one of my picks because everything Amir said I agreed with, but I also... it's a rare song. Diamond Shell tells so many stories on this, the Grand Imperial Diamond Shell. Mm-hmm. This story is one of the funnier ones, even though he has a lot of humor throughout, which I'm sure we'll get to with one or two of the other picks. But I also thought it just seemed unusually mean on the album. So that's a weird thing, because normally I could care less about that type of thing in a song. But it just seemed a little out of character for the character of the Grand Imperial Diamond Shell on the album. So, even though I appreciate it, I think it's great, and it's probably my 4th favorite song on the album, it's not one of my top 3 picks. Now, I'll go with toward the front of the album, we get Back Again. that one I really love because as a recurring theme on many songs that I love, there's lots of scratching on this song. And this is one where I think Diamond Shell typically throughout the Grand Imperial, Diamond Shell flows a little slower, a little more in pocket, and he tells a lot of stories. Whereas on Back Again, he doesn't. He's just more showcasing his flow and his lyrical dexterity, throwing in a lot of punchlines and just kind of bragging. And that one really stood out to me because the majority of the album is not like that, in my opinion. And he doesn't typically rap as fast as he is on there, on Back Again, which isn't super fast by any means, but it's just he has a different flow, a different feel, a different flavor to me. And because of that, I always liked it. And I just think that the scratching and the feel of the song is just very different from not only my other two picks, but also the majority of the Grand Imperial Diamond Shell. So Amir, what's your second pick?
So second would be Oh What a Night. And that's definitely a more catchy song on the album. Biz Marquis on it, who's also Diamond Shell's brother, which I didn't know. And so that's cool. I really think the Biz Marquis chorus is actually very catchy. I really like it a lot. And Diamond Shell, his rhymes on there are dope. It's interesting because I believe in the first verse he's, with the chick, and then, he gets in the club, and then he basically tells her, like, well, let's stop the small talk. You want to go back to my place? It's like, this guy just goes in the club, and then he's saying, like, let's cut the small talk. Let's go back to my place. And then he goes back to his place, and, like, what do you go to the club for? So that's, like, funny to me. Biz Marquis, like I said, love that. And then in the second verse, he's kind of showcasing, talking about his brother Biz Marquis, blah, blah, blah. And people are asking questions about it. Like, if you want to know when Biz Marquis is on stage, you can hit him up. Like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought that was cool. And then it's funny because the way he's kind of like macking on the song, but he's making it clear, but he's not like a pimp in the way that I'm used to hearing the things. It's braggadocious, but not as, forceful. And anyways, he talks about how the girls can do the nasty thing and all this other stuff. And Diamond Shell's making it sound like it just comes so easy to him. But nonetheless, the song itself, it's catchy. It's definitely one that stayed on rotation for me when I was bumping this album like a year and a half, 2 years ago. That was definitely one that stood out. And I believe that was a single too.
Yep.
So boom, that's my second.
Well, that's also one of my picks. So What a Night is fantastic. The video was good if you guys had a chance to see it back in the day, or now you can find it, of course, on YouTube or etc. But What a Night, I think, was great storytelling, and like Amir was saying, the Biz angle of it, I thought just threw in a whole other layer of unexpectedness, because when I got the album, I didn't know who Diamond Shell was. I bought it because it was on Cold Chillin', back when you would just buy stuff based on the label. And then I saw Biz Marquis had produced it, and Cool V, and DJ Doc, and all this stuff, so I knew it had a potential to be great. And then with Oh What a Night, going with the old, using that chorus to remake it, or redo it, I guess, with Biz's signature off-key singing style, I thought was incredible. And then the storytelling, like, it was funny about, that was kind of a Vapors-esque type of thing where people were coming at Diamond Shell because of Biz, now that Biz was famous type of thing, and now they're looking at Diamond Shell. So all these types of things made this song really, really enjoyable to me. And then I just thought the beat worked really well with Diamond Shell's voice and his flow. And for that, I just thought it had a good blend of getting with girls, telling a little bit of humor, little self-deprecation, which I think when done as well as Diamond Shell does on Oh What a Night, I think works extremely well, and shows versatility, that you can tell a story and you're not always the hero. It's just like a realistic story, because not everyone's always the hero, not everyone's always a gangster, not everyone's always mad or sad or angry or whatever. And Diamond Shell in one song shows you all these different layers to his experience and what was going on in his life at the time, or at least in the story, all of which I thought were magnificent. So Amir, that's my second pick. What's your third pick?
Third pick, I would have to go Captain Speakin' on this one. This is another one, he has a few stories on this album, as we'd stated already, a lot of stories. And this one is where he's basically taking character of a pilot. He basically explains that he can, go around the world in a minute or more, or I'm pretty sure he said the world. So I thought that was interesting. I think the way that Diamond Shell on this album, and particularly on this song, the way he explains things, it's very easy to kind of put yourself in the mind state that he's, it's very easy to put yourself in the setting he's trying to, paint that picture for you. So I think that's cool. I like how he's a stewardess, on the song, also in theme and in character. The sample on this is awesome. A popular version of the sample is when Jay-Z used it on Where I'm From, which is one of my favorite Jay-Z songs. So to hear, in just total, it's such a huge contrast. So Jay-Z's song is a little more rugged, showing where he's from, and he has a lot of big punchlines in there, and showing the roughness of Marcy, etc. And then you hear Diamond Shell taking on this beat from a way different angle, how he's basically a pilot, how he's telling you no smoking in the plane, and he's talking about the food and the drinks on the plane, and for a song that you think would just be a minute or two just on the theme, he makes it last a few minutes. So I thought that was awesome. I think the way he executes it was great. And also another thing that I want to mention about this album too is that he doesn't cuss much. I don't remember the instances of where he cusses. Maybe says something once or twice or three times, but even then there's not even a parental advisory sticker on the album. And I really like with some rappers how they're able to really make a song, make an album, and rely very little or not at all on explicit language. Not saying I look for that, but the fact that he's able to do it so well is impressive. And Captain Speakin' is my third pick.
Captain Speaking's also my pick, which rounds out my three as well, for all those reasons Amir said. And specifically getting into the beat, and like Amir was saying, with the contrast with what Jay-Z did and what Diamond Shell did, it's just remarkable that this song was done 5+ years before Jay-Z got on the beat, and to hear it done in a way conceptually it's also so dramatically different. And the fact that when you hear the beat and the sample used in the way that Diamond Shell did, and it kind of fits in with the plane, kind of the mood where they're hearing all the chirps and the chimes when you're first getting on the plane, and fasten your seatbelt and all this different stuff, which he, includes in the song. But it also made me think of that, when you're flying, it's just kind of that different atmosphere. And at the time when this beat came out and the Grand Imperial Diamond Shell album was out, it was also very different and kind of airy and strange and all these different things, to me at least, as somebody that was listening to basically every rap album that was coming out. It just stood out to me. It was so distinctive. So when Jay-Z did use it later, I was like, oh man, he used that same beat Diamond Shell used, and Jay-Z did it in a total different way, which I thought was awesome too. So this Grand Imperial Diamond Shell album, Giggles, is probably my fourth pick, and it's just, this album is so, to me, underrated, underappreciated, which is why I'm glad Amir followed my advice and bought it, because it's just a great album, man. It's a great album. And from what I understand, on the production side with Cool V, DJ Doc, and Bismarcky, and whoever else may have been involved, just sonically, I think the album is excellent. And for those that don't know, if you haven't seen where I talk about the other great cold chillin' album, of my opinion, of the era that people don't talk about, Granddaddy IU's Smooth Assassin. I interviewed Granddaddy IU. I did a cover story with him on Smooth Assassin, and definitely check that one out too if you're not familiar with it. But those are my top three picks on Diamond Shell's The Grand Imperial Diamond Shell. You guys got Amir's top three picks. Hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what your picks are. And we look forward to hearing from you. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
The Great Debaters, y'all. Shout out to Diamond Shell, Grand Imperial.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Your MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.